Welcome into Atlanta Falcons today. I am Tom Downey, subbing in, guest host, back again because there's breaking news. A move I think many of you are going to like. Jeff Okudah is a Falcon, a bit of a surprise move. Kind of came out of nowhere. There were some vague Twitter rumors saying Okudah being shopped. Well, ended up being accurate. Jeffrey Okudah is heading to the Falcons, the former number 3 overall pick. The Lions are getting back just a 5th-round selection, number 159 overall. The Falcons landing Okudah about as low as I think any of us would have thought. Would have thought at least a borderline top 100 pick. Instead, we're outside the top 150. Falcons keep all of their top trade assets. They get a potential starting corner. As we'll get into more in depth, I absolutely love this deal for the Atlanta Falcons. And this is exactly why you guys subscribe, by the way. When news happens, we will break it down for you, whether it's me, Petey, whoever the host is. We have you guys covered. When news happens, we break it down. Hit that sub button and make sure notifications are set to all, because otherwise you won't always get a push, meaning you might not see the news and the breakdown of the Jeffrey Okudah trade. So make sure you guys are subscribed. It is, as far as I'm concerned, a fantastic deal for your Atlanta Falcons. Okudah's a former number 3 overall pick. Now, he had battled injuries, inconsistency, straight-up poor play his first 2 years. I'm going to blame Matt Patricia for the start of that, but he showed much better football play this past year. I think we do have to admit that the consensus top 5 player out of Ohio State in that class is not going to be the superstar corner that I and many others thought. I'll pull up my notes here, or my draft rankings for Jeffrey Okudah that year. I was very high on him coming out. I didn't see many flaws in his game. He was number 4 on my board. I was convinced he was going to be a star. Ironically enough, the top defensive players, Chase Young, Isaiah Simmons, Jeffrey Okudah, Derek Brown, haven't really panned out to the top 10 hype that was around them. He was better this year, though. The complete percentage was under 60%, always a decent metric, a little high on the yards, only 1 touchdown allowed, and a far cry from the real struggles he showed at the beginning of his career. 77.2%, 703 yards, 3 touchdowns, but we saw growth out of Jeffrey Okudah this past year, and he looked more like the guy we thought he was going to be, or at least getting closer to being a low-end starter, valuable player. The Falcons are now, I think, in pretty good shape short-term at cornerback. A.J. Terrell, I think he's been really good for Atlanta. Casey Hayward offers some inside-outside flex. Maybe the Falcons try something similar with Jeffrey Okudah, by the way, in their inside-outside. Darren Hall can play some nickel, too. You've got depth now. We'll talk about the draft impact at the end of the show. I do wonder if this takes Atlanta out of the running for a cornerback like a Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon in round 1. Maybe helps them gear towards edge rusher. Maybe Bijan there. But just for the trade itself, what do you grade it? A, B, C, D, or F? This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. A, B, C, D, or F for the Falcons trading for Jeffrey Okudah. I'm going to give it an A. I think this is a steal of a move by the Falcons. Okudah was in a weird spot. He's one of those, if he is available, because of the previous draft investment, the Lions are probably asking for too much, or if they're not, that in and of itself might drive down the bidding because, wait, you're getting him on the number 3 overall pick already? That makes us suspicious. So it was always a weird player to get the right trade value for, but for it to only be a 5th-round pick, I was pretty shocked by that. I like this year's corner class. I get that. I mean, if you had told someone 2 years ago, hey, the Falcons will get Jeffrey Okudah, like, wow, they traded a first for him? No, 5th-round pick for the former number 3 overall selection. This is the type of move you should always make. Day 3, non-top even 150 draft picks, a late 5th rounder, those guys don't often pan out. Like, those players are not good options. We're talking about John Reed's on this roster. He was a former 4th-round pick. Like, he just wasn't great. Javelin Guidry was kind of in that range, you know? Darren Hall, 4th round, been a little bit better than maybe most 4th rounders. Like, the level of investment you're going to get the level of player you're going to get, the upside you get with that 5th-round pick is not very high. It is significantly better for a player, even, let's say worst case, Jeffrey Okudah ends up being kind of what he's been. He regresses a little bit. He's only a backup. Getting a backup corner in the 5th round, that's pretty valuable. Now, you're going to pay him a bit more money. That's fair. But I think the upside is totally worth shipping off that day 3 pick. I think that is a great move by the Atlanta Falcons. So give me your one-word reaction to this trade, Jeffrey Okudah and the Falcons. Sound off for me in the comments section. And while you're down there, check out the Falcons draft hat. It is available, chatsports.com/ATL hat. That link will be both in the comments section and the description of today's show. The NFL draft is just outside 3 weeks away. Get your draft hat in time for this year's selections. You have options now at corner. You know, D. Alford can play some nickel. Darren Hall's a piece. You have another former Lion, Mike Hughes, on this roster, former first-round pick. You've got A.J. Terrell. You've got Casey Hayward. Now you throw in Jeffrey Okudah. It's not like the most elite cornerback room in the NFL. I think we can be realistic there. But I feel pretty good about it. Given where this cornerback room was even 2 years ago, I think this is a significant upgrade for Atlanta. So I know that Jeffrey Okudah struggled early in his career, especially those first 2 years. It's why the value of the trade was so low, but he began to right the ship this season. I am surprised he had that little trade interest there in the end. I think he scared some teams with injuries his first 2 years. Only played in 10 games. He was a bit of a mess. He lost some confidence. It was a lot better last year for Okudah. Still not what you want. You want to get that yardage down, the completion percentage down a little bit. I think maybe even try him some at nickel if you want to go that route, if you want to keep Casey Hayward on the right side. He is due to have his 5th-year option decision made after the draft. I would not anticipate the 5th-year option being picked up, so it's a 1-year rental. See if he does better. If he does, okay, cool. Bring him back. Explore that option as you know, a franchise tag, an extension. It's totally a worthwhile gamble for Atlanta and Jeffrey Okudah. Getting a fresh start, going to a new place, hopefully a better fit in the end. Defensively, I think he was doing better without Matt Patricia being a dumpster fire. But 5th-round pick is awesome value for Jeffrey Okudah. It's a great move by Atlanta. And it does give them a different path potentially in this year's NFL draft because you have Okudah, Terrell, Casey. They've been linked corners, Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon. Maybe that's not the route they go anymore. Maybe they choose to instead look in a different direction in terms of that spot. Edge still stands out to me. I know they paid Caden Ellis. They have Ronald Abakady, Lorenzo Carter, a Nolan Smith, a hybrid piece, and Tyree Wilson, edge DT to an extent. Could make some sense. Dark horse. I think Arthur Smith would love to have Bijan Robinson on this football team. I know they got Tyler Algier, Cordero Patterson, so you don't need a running back, but I think that helps out Bijan there a little bit. I still think front 4, you want to go with the 4-3 base. I know it's a 3-4, but like the DTs, the pass rushers, do make some sense. You spend big money on David Onamata, so probably not Jalen Carter. Looking edge, Nolan Smith, the Georgia boy, Tyree Wilson. You know, maybe somebody slides to you. Maybe you trade down even if you want to get aggressive there, or maybe you do go with Bijan Robinson there. I wouldn't hate guard maybe if you want to get a left guard in there. Peter Skronsky would be fun, but that's a premium pick when you just made Chris Lindstrom the highest paid guard in the NFL. So Falcons draft plans, I do think, changed by this a little bit, and something tells me you'll see a new mock draft from us in the not too distant future. So make sure you guys are subscribed at youtube.com/FalconsTV.